Hello, folks. Looks like we're live. Um, you're very welcome to another live stream here. My name is Dane Tyghe, driving instructor in Wexford, and I'm going to be here today for the next hour, hour and a half to answer your questions on driving, whether you're learning, whether you have a test. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them here. Just any questions, just let me know in the comment section, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. You'll see here on screen we have a test report sheet, so I hope you can read that okay. I'm going to go down through this test report sheet very soon, and I am going to go through the marks and I'm going to suggest where this person went wrong and how he could improve for the next time. You'll also see some signs up there, 6 road signs numbered 1 to 6 there. Um, so I'll be talking about those throughout the stream. If you have any questions about those signs, or if you want to make a, I was going to say a guess, but if you want to have an attempt at give an attempt at what they mean, just let me know in the comment section, and I'll let you know. But these are just 6 signs. There's loads of signs you could be asked in your test, and whether it's a test or not, it's good to know them anyway. But let me know if you know these signs, and I'll let you know the right answer if you get it wrong. And these are signs that could very easily be asked in your driving test. So, we have a few comments in there. Let's see. Noah Thomas Nyanku is first in there. Good morning. Good morning to you, Noah. Thanks for tuning in. Mary Sinnott. Mary goes with a good afternoon. Yes, technically it's afternoon, I suppose. So, hello to you, Mary. Stacy Williamson. Hello. Hello, Stacy. And hello, Dennis Sherry as well is there. Kira O'Gara, hi Dan. In my driving test, the tester said I was oversteering sometimes. What did he mean by that? Well, that is an interesting question there, Kira OG. If you're oversteering, he means you're doing some kind of you're steering too hard, too much. So, for example, if you're taking a left turn and you just kind of steer a little too hard, a little too fast, and then subsequently you have to correct it by steering slightly fast on the right side to correct it. That could be what he means. Maybe on the turnabout you were doing dry steering. He could be talking about that as well. But I'd say it's more to do with your technique there, Kira, that you're kind of steering a little bit harsh, and you might want to steer a bit more gently, a bit more gradually, so that it doesn't feel like it's all panicky, or that you're quickly correcting yourself. That's what I think anyway. I think it would have been handier if he had went into a bit more detail. All right, but that's my estimation there. Franklin Okan Ume. Hi, then. I have 2 questions. One is, would you recommend ignoring the examiner while doing the test because you'll be nervous? Yes, Franklin, that's actually a good idea, but just don't ignore him too much, because you have to listen to him so you can. I, I I'm being sarcastic, like, and I'm sure you understand. You have to listen to him so you can understand where he wants you to go. But if you have the ability to ignore him or her, don't forget there's female examiners as well. If you can ignore him or her and just kind of treat them like a voice box, like a sat nav, basically, yeah, that would be good. Look, if you're getting worried by you know awkward silences or whatever like that, or the fact that there's someone watching you, you have to ask yourselves, are you concentrating? Because I always feel you should be partially ignoring the examiner anyway, because you should be too busy concentrating on where you're going. You should be too busy concentrating on what's ahead of you, like the pedestrian crossing up ahead, the yellow box up ahead, the traffic lights up ahead. If you're focusing on those type of things, you shouldn't really be too worried about the examiner. Treat the examiner like a sat nav. Yeah, so it is a good idea. I just meant, like, don't ignore him too much. Noah Thomas Nian. Hang on, I'll get back to Noah there. Here we go. Just wondering, are you able to book a test without having any lessons done? Yes, you can book a test without having lessons done if you don't have to do the 12 lessons. But if you have to do the 12 lessons, you have to have the lessons uploaded. So your instructor has to upload the lessons on the RSA portal. So the answer to your question is, you can still book the test even if you haven't got the lessons done. But the reality is the RSA are not going to give you a test date until they see all 12 lessons have been uploaded. Okay, so you can certainly book, but you won't get a date. It's better to make sure your instructor uploads the lessons first, and most instructors, I'm sure, do upload the lessons on time and in a prompt way. Okay, so let's see. Going to just do another comment here from Ray, and then I'm going to get started on this test report sheet here on the screen. Um, Ray says, "Hi Dane, failed on Wednesday. That's a pity. Due to a grade 3 on not yielding right of way on a roundabout. Yeah, that's a little awkward. Pulled up beside a van on the inside lane. So when you say that, I presume you mean the right. You're on the right lane, and they were, or maybe the van was on the inside lane. I'm not quite sure. And they were taking the same exit as me. Rebooked for early December. Yeah." These things happen. You see, actually, on this report sheet on screen here, we have a yield right of way on overtaking, but you have yield right of way on a roundabout. So I don't know the ins and outs of that, but obviously the tester is saying to you there that um you didn't give way to the traffic coming from the right. I presume so. Maybe you pulled out too early and you caused the other person to slow down or stop. If you're going to pull out on a roundabout, whether it's a big one or a small one, you have to make sure you've got a good safe gap. And I would advise you there as well, Ray, to, if you have a bigger roundabout, it's possible that the other cars that you're yielding to, they might be coming down faster. Especially if they're coming down a hill. Just be very careful. You have to kind of judge the size of the roundabout and the hills as well, because if they look like they're moving faster and it's a very free flowing roundabout, you don't want to pull out too early there, because that might be okay to pull out on a smaller roundabout in town, but if it's a bigger roundabout on the outside of town, you might want to be a bit more careful. All roundabouts are different. Sorry to hear that, Ray. Just email me. My email's on screen there if you want me to go through your report sheet there. Or if you have any further questions, email me, danetyghe@gmail.com. That goes for everyone. Any questions about driving, my email is there. Okay, so one of my subscribers emailed me his report sheet here, and I have it on screen here. I hope you can all read it okay. It was kind of a screenshot, so I don't think the screenshots are the best quality, but I'm going to go down through it anyway, and I'm going to kind of give tips and advice. There's a nice mixture of faults here. So let's start with the first one, okay? We're going to go from top to bottom. Rules and checks. So this is like rules of the road, like theory, road signs at the start. And you can see there that there's one grade 2 mark, okay? So the grade 1s, first of all, are minor marks. They're just like a minor mark. They're not serious. They're a mistake that the tester feels that he or she has to note, but it's not serious enough to count as anything more than a minor mark. The grade 1s don't necessarily mean they don't add up to a fail, but they could add up to, if you get too many of the one grade 1 mark, the tester may feel that he's no option but to give you a grade 2 next then, okay? But on their own, they're not going to accumulate to a fail. Grade 2s then are more serious, but they're not very serious. They're medium sized marks, as I like to call them. If you get 9 or more grade 2s, it is a fail, okay? If you get 6 or more grade 2s in the one under the one heading, like position there, for example, you will fail. And if you get too much grade 2s on the one mark, so for example, if you look at observation there moving off, this guy got 3, okay? So if you were to get 4 on the one mark, like observation moving off, that too would be a fail. So in simple language, 9 or more is a fail, 9 or more blues is a fail, 6 or more under the one heading, such as position, and 4 or more under the one specific mark is a fail. But most people, if they're going to fail, most people fail by getting too many too many grade 2 marks accumulated. Anyway, and the grade 3s then, sorry, is serious, or very dangerous, or potentially dangerous, like pulling out in front of somebody, not stopping at a red light, mounting the curb, not hitting the curb, not clipping the curb, not just not brushing off the curb. They can be, you can get away with that, but going up on the curb could be very serious. And serious things like, like causing another car to stop suddenly or nearly running over a pedestrian, things like that. So anyway, the first mark here on this sheet is a grade 1 mark under rules and checks. So obviously the person here got 3 or more questions and road signs wrong. Okay, so that's why I put up some of these road signs up here. They're a bit tricky. Just let me know in the comment section. Anyone that has any idea what these road signs mean, let's see in the comment section. So it's three or more. Like if you get one question wrong or one road sign one, generally it's one grade one mark. If you get two, it's a second grade one mark. But three or more, grade two, three or more under rules and checks. That's like theory and road signs means a grade one mark. But you can't get any more than a grade one. You can't fail. You cannot fail on theory alone. So obviously this person wasn't really prepared for the theory side of things, and he clearly got three or more questions, road signs, wrong. If we move down along to the green ones, then technical checks and hand signals. It's like you really shouldn't be turning up for a test if you don't know your technical checks or hand signals, because they're very straightforward. They're very easy. There shouldn't be a whole lot of difficulty with these things. I wonder when I see a test report sheet like this, did the learner driver, did he even bother to get any lessons at all? Because if he did, surely you wouldn't fall down on little things like that. But luckily they weren't very serious because they were under the grade one category. Technical checks, that could be to do with under the bonnet checks, like pointing out the oil or the brake fluid or something like that, or it could be possibly inside the car if the tester asks you to point out the fog lights or the wipers, or how does the back wiper work, or how do you get the water on the back, that kind of stuff. So just the one there anyway. So obviously there was one issue there, and then two on hand signals. So yeah, you shouldn't really be losing marks on hand signals. He only lost two, but if he had lost one more, he would have been a grade two. So to a guard the points when you're going right, you stick your right hand out the window like that. Guard the points when you're going straight. Left hand, can you see that there? Left hand straight up under the center mirror. Guard the points when going left, then you bring your left hand across like that. Traffic behind, then right, straight out the window. Slow down or stop, right hand out the window and just do that. And then traffic from behind that you're going left, just make circles like that. Just pretend like you're telling them to overtake you. Okay, that's to go. That's to go left. Traffic from behind, up and down is to slow down and stop, and straight out. Right hand straight out the window is the hand signal to go right. Okay, so I have videos on that as well. Just type in Dane Tyghe hand signals into YouTube and you'll get that. Okay. Next, then we have position. Position on the straight. Okay, so the tester gave him a grade 1 mark and a grade 2 mark. One under green and one under blue, as you can see there, okay? So perhaps the tester thought that one position on the straight was minor enough. Maybe he gave him the benefit of the doubt, but then he had to give him another mark on position on the straight as well. So that's to do with not keeping left, okay? So when you're on the straight, a straight road, like you have to keep, generally speaking, left of center. Left of center, okay? Now, you have to obey road markings as well. You could lose marks for position on the straight if there's two lanes, for example, and you're kind of too close to the left, like you're straddling the left lane and you're getting uncomfortably close to the other car in the left lane. You could potentially lose marks there. But generally speaking, for the most part, if you lose a mark on position on the straight, it just means that you're not keeping left enough, okay? If you're on the straight and it's a reasonably wide lane, you need to keep left of center, okay? You can use your side mirror to help you, okay? If you look in your side mirror and try and make sure that your door handle is just slightly overlapping, say, the yellow line or whatever the marking is there, that can be one way of helping you there. But remember as well, if you're on a straight road and it's a very narrow lane, like a very, very, very kind of tight, narrow lane, don't be left of center then. You kind of have to stay central in that case. So make sure you stay central if it's a very, very narrow road, because you don't want to be straddling the left or the right if it's a really small lane, okay? Position on roundabouts then is next. Now, I mean, this could be this could be anything. I mean, it's a grade 2 mark on position at roundabouts. So, was this person in the wrong lane? Was he maybe not in the center of the lane? So if there's if there's multi lanes coming to a roundabout, generally speaking, you should be in the center of the lane, and not straddling the left, not straddling the right. Another important tip here on position at roundabouts, I always like to see people when they approach the roundabout, okay? When they approach the roundabout, not to be like not to have the car too straight, okay, but to have the car slightly left. So turn your steering wheel slightly to the left, and that's going to help you then go around the white center circle in the middle, okay? Because you really don't want to go over the white center circle if you can avoid it. That is, I mean, sometimes you have to. So it could be any of those things. It could have been position at roundabouts. Could be in the wrong lane. Could be straddling the lines. Maybe you didn't keep left enough. Maybe you just kind of swerved a little bit. Who knows? It's a bit of a general one. And then there's a minor one then next on position turning left. Now usually this is because the person didn't keep left enough. So when you know say you're coming to a T junction, for example, have to make sure when coming to a T junction that if you can at all possible keep to the left. So it means you turn the steering wheel a little bit more like to the left, so the front of your car is facing, not facing 12 o'clock, but kind of facing like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, if that makes sense. And that kind of sets you up then to helps you to avoid swing wide on the next road and helps you to avoid going, too close to the middle white line. So if you're turning left, try and keep left. Observation is next then. Observation, moving off, 3 marks here. So this is where it kind of started to go wrong here, as you can see on observation, because we have a red mark here as well next. But observation moving off. So this is usually to do with not checking the blind spot moving off. Normally you're going to be parked on the left hand side of the road. On the left, okay? That's the norm, on the left. So when you're moving off, you have to make sure that the last thing you do is check the blind spot. That means a good, enthusiastic look over your shoulder, okay? And you have to kind of make sure this shoulder comes out as well and the head turns properly so that you're looking at your kind of your back passenger window, not the window beside you, That's not a blind spot. Looking there, that's sideways. That's not a blind spot. Can't see what's behind you. Then you have to be able to see if you imagine like there was a drone overhead and they were looking straight down on you. Your blind spot is kind of your 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock zone over your right shoulder if you were looking down from above. Okay, so perhaps the person here forgot to check the blind spot, or maybe they did check the blind spot, but it went out of date. And when you're moving off, then if you check your blind spot, and even if you do a good proper blind spot, and then you kind of wait an extra 4 or 5 seconds or whatever, because you're getting your feet sorted out, or you give the wheel a little turn, or whatever you do, it then goes out of date. Your blind spot goes out of date, so you have to refresh again. Okay, and I would recommend doing the 3 mirrors and the blind spot again, proper blind spot now again, and then it's up to date. So if you lost 3 marks here on observation moving off, I suspect you didn't check the blind spot, or you let it go out of date, or possibly didn't check it properly, like I said with the shoulder checks. Okay, very very important one there. Changing lanes then, yeah, this can be a bit of a landmine for some people, changing lanes. You see, there's a grade 2 marker, sorry, a blue one and a red one. So the blue one and the red, so blue is kind of medium, red is serious. So if the tester gives you a red mark, the tester's saying what you did is either dangerous or potentially dangerous. So grade 2, change lane. Look, it's under observation. It's obviously to do with not checking the mirrors enough. Now, possibly a blind spot could be necessary too, but I wouldn't be going too mad on the blind spot check changing lanes, because you're on the move. But when you're changing lanes, you have to make sure that you check your mirrors. So if you're changing lanes, for example, to the right lane, okay, to the right lane, the middle and right mirror are the priority. Okay, I see people changing lanes to the right lanes occasionally. So they're going from the left to the right. Okay, and I see them, and as they're going to the right lane, suddenly I see them. They're checking their left mirror, and I'm kind of thinking, maybe that's not the wisest thing to do. Like, why would you check your left mirror if you're moving to the right lane? Some people just seem to have this habit of just checking all 3 mirrors at the same time, and thinking somehow that's going to cover them on observation, which is a little bit ridiculous. But what can you do? If you're going to the right lane, you have to prioritize. Okay, that means the middle mirror and the right mirror are the priority ones, okay? Especially the right mirror, okay? If you're going to the left lane, from right to left, well then the middle and the left mirror is the priority one here. So basically, it's possible that this person for the blue one did check the mirrors, but maybe they didn't double check them as they were going across. So you have to check them before you indicate, and then you have to keep double checking them again as you're moving across. As and before and as you're going into the lane. So it's not enough to check them once. You have to check them again before you turn the wheel across. Okay, and then the red one then as well. See, this is obviously. I mean, the blue one was medium, so the red one was serious. Now maybe the tester felt that the person here changed lanes and he didn't take into account that there was a car behind him or a vehicle of some type behind him. So it's possible that he changed lanes without seeing there was a car behind, moved across, didn't take the proper observation. Maybe the car behind had to suddenly stop or beat the horn, who knows. I'm not saying he didn't tell me anything. The person never told me if the driver behind had to stop or beat the horn or anything like that, but it's potentially possible. So maybe for the red mark, the person didn't show good observation in a busier area, maybe, or an area that was busier than the first area. But anyway, it's to do with not checking the mirrors. Now, sometimes when you're changing lane, it's good to give a quick blind spot as well, but not the blind spot I was explaining a minute ago for moving off. If you're checking your blind spot when you're changing lanes, it should be done nice and quick. It's more of a sideways glance, kind of like this, like that. So you kind of go for the middle mirror first, then the right mirror. That kind of sets you up anyway. So you kind of have more or less 90% of your information in your head anyway. And then just after you check your mirror, just give a quick glance like that, and then look back straight ahead. Then you cannot be turning around and looking behind you too long when you're on the move. A quick sideways glance, and as you're doing the sideways glance, just kind of put your eyes to the right, like I'm looking this way now, but my eyes are kind of turned this way, so I can see the screen as well, and I can see the laptop, if that makes sense. So it's called giving it. I sometimes call it giving it the old snake eyes. So it's like moving your eyes like a snake would move his eyes without moving his head, if that makes sense. So um, when you're changing lanes, lots of mirror checks. Make sure you double check the mirrors before you move the wheel across, and maybe get a quick blind spot check if it's safe and if it's practical, just to be sure, especially if it's a busier road. And especially if you think it's busier behind you, but it's quiet in front of you, you could probably afford to give a blind spot check then. But if it's kind of quiet behind you that you can make out from the mirrors, but kind of busy in front of you, I wouldn't bother with the blind spot check then. Next then is observation turning right. This is to do with moving the head usually, okay? Like at a junction, you're turning right like a stop sign or something like that. So you have to be like keeping the head moving, left, right, keeping yourself updated of what's going on, and then just as you're moving then, so as the car is moving across the white line, if you're going right, you should get one last look to the left end, kind of just a quick one, a confirmation look as you're going, okay? So observation turning right is not necessarily to do with mirrors. It's more to do with moving the head left and right, left and right. Keep an eye on the traffic coming, like what traffic is coming on the main road, and keeping the head moving so you can be as observant as possible there. Next, then we have reaction anticipation to hazards. Okay, so it's under react to hazards, a green and a blue mark there, one on one. So this could be anything, and in a lot of cases it happens to be parked cars. So not kind of preparing or planning enough for hazards. So if you see that there's some kind of obstruction or some kind of problem ahead, the first thing you have to do is just get off the accelerator and come over to the brake and just kind of gradually get onto the brake and gradually slow down. Because when you slow down approaching a hazard, it means that your brain has more time to think and more time to adjust to the situation rather than coming up at a normal speed and then suddenly braking suddenly. Like if you end up braking suddenly, or not getting down the gears or whatever like that, it might not look the best with the hazard. So slow down, get down the gears if you need to. Um, Try and scan the road ahead. Keep an eye on the mirrors if you're going to move out. But remember, if this is under reaction, okay, and we have react there, anticipate, and we have react to hazard, okay. So this is nothing really to do with the mirrors. This is about looking ahead, planning ahead. So many people get hung up on mirror checks, and they seem to be under this illusion that they need to be checking the mirrors every 5 or 6 seconds, which is completely and utterly ridiculous. You don't need to be doing that. That's a load of bullshit, and anyone that told you that hasn't a clue. You check your mirrors when you need to, but the most important thing is to be planning ahead. And this is where this person fell down, because he wasn't anticipating ahead. Maybe he didn't see the cyclist pulling out. Maybe he didn't see the parked car that suddenly decided to pull out. Or maybe he just slowed down a little bit too late, a little bit too suddenly. Who knows? It could be a number of things, but the main thing there, and the main word you can take from that, is anticipate. You have to plan ahead and anticipate things, and looking ahead, planning ahead is so important. Progress is next then, and a lot of marks here on progress. The tester looked like the tester gave him the benefit of the doubt for a lot of the marks here, but there's a couple of grade twos as well. So progress is basically going too slow, like hesitating, not not moving off quick enough, not pulling off quick enough. So progress moving off. So moving off, maybe you could be moving off from the side of the road, from like a park position. Maybe moving off at traffic lights. I'm not sure. Probably moving off from the side of the road too slow. Tester saying you had the gap to go. You were fine to go. There might have been a car behind you, but he was way too far away. Tester wants you to be decisive and show confidence. If it's safe to go, just go. Don't hang around. Progress on the straight. We've two green and a blue there, so two minor ones. Again, the tester looked like he was being very fair here. He was giving him the grade ones, perhaps hoping that he might get more confidence as it went on. So on the straight means if it's on like an open straight road, maybe 50 kilometers, something like that. I mean, the speed limit could have been 50 kilometers, but this person might have only been doing 35 or 30 or 38 or 40 or something like that. So if it's a good straight road and there's no parked cars and there's no obstructions, there's no speed bumps, it looks a pretty good surface, put the foot down and get to the speed limit. Even exceed it by a couple of kilometers, just only by one or two. But if it's safe, go. Put the foot down, go. Show confidence, show decisiveness, because you can't be going around the driving test driving like you're an old lady on a Sunday. It's not Sunday. Driving tests don't take place on Sunday. So let's show a bit of confidence and decisiveness. If it's safe to go, just go. If it's safe to get to the speed limit, then do the speed limit. Progress at roundabouts then, 2 and 2. So again, too slow at roundabouts. Now it could have been taken off at the roundabout, maybe. Could have been taken off, or it could have been progress on the roundabout, like literally driving too slow as you're going around the roundabout, maybe. But it's definitely something about being too slow, too indecisive. So if it's safe to go, just go. Um, at a roundabout, you have to kind of judge. You have to judge the other cars as well. But if you feel that it's safe to go, and the other cars are far enough away, for example, far enough away that you're not able to read their number plate, and that they don't look like they're increasing speed and they're not coming down a hill, for example. If you kind of add up things like that, you should be able to make a decision to go or not. I know experience is the best way of dealing with these type of things, and you might not have as much experience if you're a learner driver doing your test, but that will come with time. Anyway, progress at roundabouts, two minor, two medium ones there. Tester saying you were too slow at the roundabouts, too slow on the approach, too slow on the roundabout, too slow moving off at the roundabout, whatever. I haven't forgotten about that red mark as well. Sorry, I mentioned that red mark, didn't I? Didn't I? Yes, I think I mentioned that red one up there, but the change in lanes. Yeah, sorry. And the last one then, yield right of way overtaking. So this means that the person tried to overtake, let's say, a parked car or something like that, but he tried to overtake the parked car, and he shouldn't have, because there was somebody else coming maybe towards him who had the right of way. So in this situation, the tester's actually saying that you were probably too enthusiastic or nearly too decisive or whatever like that. But yield right of way overtaking means that you pulled out. Maybe you overtook a cyclist, for example. Maybe it was a park car. Maybe it was a slow moving vehicle, whatever like that. You overtook it, but maybe there was another oncoming car who had right of way, and you shouldn't have overtaken at that particular time. Okay, so that's basically a summary of the test sheet there, folks. The person would have failed on grade 2s anyway, even if he hadn't got that grade 3 on the changing lanes, okay? So the reason he failed was because of the grade 3 mark and because he got too many blues, because 9 or more blue marks is a fail. 9 or more. Okay, so hope that clarifies it. Any questions, let me know. So we'll be getting over to those signs now soon, but let's get back to some comments here, folks. I'm going to get back to answering your questions. So we had Ray last there. So next with S Ross SS. Hi, hello S Ross or Rose, sorry. Neve Brosnan then passed my test the other day. Dane, thanks so much for your videos. You're very welcome and congratulations, and live streams. They really helped. We'll send you on a donation, but thank you very much, Neve. And thank you to anybody out there who's been sending me donations by PayPal. Really appreciate it, folks. Link will be in the description if you want to show your appreciation. I'm very grateful. So congratulations, Neve Brosnan, on passing. Franklin Okanum again. And then, do you mind explaining how many grade 3s you were allowed to get? Because I don't understand. Well, you can't get any grade 3s, Franklin. As I said, if you get 9 or more grade 2s, 6 or more grade, sorry, let me say it again. If you get nine or more grade 2s overall, 6 or more grade 2s under a heading, like the bold heading there on the sheet, or 4 or more grade 2s under the 1 mark is a fail. But if you even get 1 grade 3, that's it. You're failed. Okay? 1 grade 3 will fail you. I have applied. I've applied for the driving test in September month, but I haven't got a test date for the driving test from Dunleary yet. Do you know how long I may have to wait? I don't know. Like, I just know in Wexford it's about 12 or 13 weeks, maybe 14 weeks, give or take. I'm not. I would only be guessing which there how long you'd have to wait. You'd be better off asking a driving instructor in Dunleary. Um, they'd they'd have more up to date because they'd have candidates, they'd have learners that they'd be dealing with, that they'd be giving lessons to, and that would have applied and subsequently done the test. So they would be the best people to ask. But I know it's probably a little bit longer now, maybe 16, maybe 17, 18 weeks, but it will come down over time. But you're better off asking a local instructor about that. Let's see, where are we? Let me find my comments again here, sorry. Okay, so what was the last one there? Dunleary one, wasn't it? So hey, it's Naomi 24, I think. Hi Dan, I have my test on Wednesday and I can't seem to get my reverse around a corner right, and my gear changes aren't as smooth. Well, you're going to have to tell me what is it about the reverse around a corner that you're not getting right. Is it the steering? Is it the speed? Is it the observation? I presume it's something to do with the curb. And I can give you a few tips there. If you email me as well, if you want more detailed information on that, I have videos on the reverse as well. And my gear changes aren't as smooth. Any tips? Yes, if your gear changes aren't as smooth, it's 2 or 3 reasons, okay? When you're going down the gears, I presume, you're lifting your clutch too quick, okay? Don't lift the clutch so quick. That's tip number 1. Number 2, don't go down to second so soon, okay? So if you're going to second gear when you're, say, 40 meters from the turn, don't do that. Brake some more, brake, and do second gear when you're 20 meters from the turn, okay? And the other thing as well as coming off the clutch slowly and gently, try stay on the brake a little bit as you're coming off the clutch, and that will help as well. So those 3 things will help you. And your test is on Wednesday there, Naomi. So the very best luck there. Email me if you have any further questions. JB888, good morning. Been practicing road signs the past few days. Driving test on Tuesday in Portlaoise. Well, the very best of luck. And don't worry too much about the road signs and theory. I mean, it is good to get off to a good start, but even if you get the questions and road signs wrong, it does not mean you failed the test. Okay, so the main reason you're going to pass or fail is going to be down to the actual driving as opposed to the signs. But I mean, best of luck with that. I have some signs up here. Anyone any ideas on these signs, folks? Or I haven't got down to all the comments yet. So anybody anybody has any guesses, let me know, folks. There's a few there coming up now. Yeah, I'm going to get to those signs there now. Naomi has one there. Randy, yeah, I'll get to them in a sec. So I take it you can see the signs, so that's good. So okay, back to the comments here then, folks. Let me see where I'm just calibrate this. Yeah, J888. Best luck to you in Port anyway, JB888. Kira O'Gara again, thank you so much. That was really helpful. Really well. My pleasure, Kira, and the very best luck to you. My email is there if you want any further details. And best wishes to you. Thanks for tuning in, Kira O'Gara. Dennis Sherry, name rings a bell. Just back from a drive myself. Plenty of people out walking and others walking dogs. Good for reaction to hazards. Yes, that's very true. And going up and down the gears on the country road. Beautiful, clear, and dry winter day. Well, Dennis Sherry, you look like a man who's at peace with himself and at peace with the world. Yeah. So, but you're right though. Seeing people out walking with dogs, I'd always say watch the body. People out walking with dogs, watch their body language. Okay. If you see a person walking, like just be aware of where they are walking. Like if they're walking on the road, are on the path? Sorry, are they close to the wall, like like away from the road? Are they close to the wall, or are they kind of veering out a little bit? Maybe they might be thinking of crossing the road. Maybe the pedestrians might kind of just look over their shoulder like that. That could be thinking of crossing the road. Then watch out for the dog as well. I mean, the dog could be on a bit of a long leash. Maybe he might. The dog sees another. If the dog sees another dog across the road, he might get a bit excited. He might try and run across after that dog without paying, you know, proper attention to the car. So just watch the body language of the people and the dogs as well, because that could help you prepare then for any eventualities. Okay. Best of luck anyway, Dennis Sherry. Cat7, hi Dane, love your videos. How far away do pedestrians have to be to not make reverse around the corner? Okay, I'm gonna have to read that again because I don't really understand that. And also, do you need to indicate coming out of a park spot at the test center? Thanks. Yeah, it's no harm. It's a good idea to indicate coming out of a park spot, but I mean you didn't say where you're moving it. Like you could be moving out of a park spot and you could be just literally going straight. Okay, there's no need to indicate then, like. But if you're coming out of the parking spot and you're immediately going this way, left or right, then I would absolutely indicate then, as well as giving a good check all around you. So it depends. If you're not sure, it's probably better to indicate anyway. I mean, it shouldn't do any harm if you indicate coming out of a parking space, but it depends on how much you're turning by, you see. Now, let's get back to the first part of that till I try and make sense of it. How far away do pedestrians have to be to not make the reverse around a corner? To not make the reverse around the corner. I think you're probably saying how far do pedestrians have to be, how far away do they have to be before you have to stop, maybe is what you're trying to say. You see, that depends. I would say maybe 25, 30 meters away. It's hard to say. It kind of depends what they're doing as well, because pedestrians could be kind of 20, 25 meters away from you, but they could be walking towards you or they could be walking away from you. See, it all depends on how far they are away from you and what their body language is. Or if you have pedestrians there and they're on the footpath, well then you I mean, and they're talking to somebody for what seems like a long time, you probably have to keep going then, but keep an eye on the pedestrian. So it all depends. But if there's a pedestrian coming, I'd say 25, 30 meters is a good time to stop, and hopefully then that they will get out of your way then, and they'll move on their way, and then you can continue on then. Dennis Shari, good luck in your test. Yes, JB, true. Simply Mariam, do you suggest stopping if there is an obstruction on your side of the road, or just slowing down? Bear in mind the road is narrow. Um, Depends, like, how big is the obstruction? You're probably better off stopping if the road is narrow, like you suggest there. You know, but if there's, what did you say there? Is stop if there's an obstruction on your side of the road. Well, like you can't stay stopped though. Like you can, like, I presume you mean they're simply marrying, like, stop for oncoming vehicles or whatever to have the right of way. But like you can't stay stopped indefinitely. So if you're not sure, you would be better off stopping, giving way to the oncoming cars. But then if there's nobody coming towards you and you're not taking anybody else's right of way, well then you kind of have to keep going then, or you have to move on. Do the mirror checks before you move out. Indicate if you need to, and most importantly, be aware of oncoming cars. But if you're in doubt, yeah, you're probably better off stopping if it's a narrow road. But as I said, it depends on who else is there, because if like, you don't stop just for the sake of stopping. Normally, you just stop, to give way to somebody else. But then you'd have to move on as well, because you have to keep going. Beck Moore, hi Dan. What is meant by position on the straight? How would I fix it? Usually, Beck Moore, this means that the person is not keeping left enough on the straight. Okay. Now it could be the fact that they're keeping too much to the left as well. But usually, what I find is, on the straight, a lot of people kind of drift out to a sort of a right of center position, whereas they need to be more left of center. Okay. You'd fix it by keeping a little bit more left, keeping an eye on your left side mirror. Pick a certain point in the left side mirror and try have your door handle line up against that point. So, for example, if you're on a main road and you're driving straight along, you should see the dotted yellow line on the left, and then try have your door handle overlapping the yellow line on the left, and that's usually a good position then to be in. Um, on a main road. And then if you're in town, it could be a footpath. Maybe don't have the door handle overlapping the footpath. It could be a bit too close then, but have it kind of close to the footpath. That's something that you can work on and practice on. And lining up your left door handle with a certain aspect of the left side of the road can certainly help you there. But usually, position on the straight is to do it, not keeping left off center. Simply Mariam, for. Oh, yes, yes. So Simply Mariam is the first one here to get one of them right anyway. Number 4 there, folks. The sign, number 4 sign. Maximum speed limit is 80 kilometers. Yes, that's correct. But it's not just that. It's also saying, sign number 4 there, folks, is also saying that the maximum rural speed limit is 80 kilometers, okay? But it's saying as well, drive with care and consideration and basically common sense, because when you're on a country road, there's lots of other unexpected things that you might have to face, like humpback bridges, potholes, bends, twists, oncoming tractors, that kind of stuff. So yes, the maximum speed limit for number 4 there, the sign means, is 80, but drive with due care and consideration, because you don't know what's going to be ahead of you on the road. So well done there, Simply Mariam, good one there. And you see if any other ones here? Oh, we have a few down there, yeah. Claude Plunkett first. Hi Dane, my test is at the end of the month and I'm struggling with nerves. Any tips? Yes, I have. If you're nervous, that's good news, okay? That is good news. As we say, Oscuelge, Jascala. It's good news because if you're nervous, it means that you're focused on the thing that you're nervous about. It also means you're probably going to concentrate more, because if you weren't nervous, you probably wouldn't give a toss about it. So that's a good thing, okay? Nerves are good. They help you focus and they help you keep concentrated on the thing that is important. And it shows that the event you're nervous about is important to you, okay? So that's the first thing. The next thing then on nerves is you have to. I've made a video on this. I can't remember all the exact tips I said now, because I made a video on driving test nerves, based on, now I'm no psychologist, but it's just based on my advice anyway. I know one of them is like, try eat healthy, drink plenty of water, eat some berries, eat good food, that's going to help you anyway for a start. What else was I saying about that? I'm going to try link that in the video at the end. But I always try to say to people, if you live in the present, okay, live in the here and now, in that, especially in those that day or two leading up to the test, it can help. There's not much point in worrying and stressing about things that you can't control, okay? So you can't control the past. You have limited control over the future. But the best way to do it is just live for the here and now. Live, so when you're going up and you're doing your test, and I know the nerves are going to be probably the worst, probably the 20 minutes beforehand. Just focus on the present. So when you're driving into the test center, just focus on what you're doing right now. So you're parking the car, for example, pulling the handbrake up, opening the door handle, getting out. Just focus on those specific things, and that, I think, that could help you. But I will say to you, once you start driving, the nerves should evaporate, because you'll be too busy focusing on what the tester's saying. Okay, but I know what you mean, and very best luck to you, Claudia, in the test. Ronnie Capel, signs, yes, signs indeed, Ronnie. So here's our first one then. Naomi again here. Okay, Naomi says number 1, clearway, correct. Number 2, no entry, yes. Number 3, pedestrian crossing, incorrect, no. Number 4, speed limit is 80. Yeah, but remember it's the rural speed limit, so you have to be you have to have consideration for the road conditions. Number 5, hospital ahead. Yes, that's absolutely correct. And number 6, dangerous turn ahead. Not quite. No, not quite. So I'm going to correct those in a minute. Well, I'm going to get down to Ronnie here, or Ranny. Sorry, he has an attempt here as well. So number 1, clearway. Yes. Number 2, no entry. Yes. Number 3, car free zone. Yeah, I suppose so. I'll give you a half mark for that. Number 4, 80 kilometers. Yeah, it is technically, but it's a rural speed limit. So yeah, 5, hospital. 6, U-turn to the left. U-turn to the left? Absolutely not. No way. So we'll get back to that. Here's a few more. We've loads of guesses down here. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean guesses. I mean tries. So what was the last one I said there? Rani, wasn't it? Sarah 93 then here. Let's see how Sarah gets on. Number 1, clearway. Yes. Number 2, no entry. Yes. Number 3, pedestrian street. Yes, absolutely, Sarah. Yeah. I mean, technically it's a car-free zone. I get what the previous person said. Yeah, 80 kilometers rural area. Yeah, yeah. Just remember to say it with that. With number 4, folks. Number 4 is going like folks. I'm not a mind reader now here, but number 4 is probably going to come up in your test. Okay, make sure you know number 4. 80 kilometers an hour, but remember it's a rural area, like Sarah said. But make sure you say drive with due care and consideration for rural roads, like be aware of humpback bridges and bends and all that kind of stuff. Number 5 for Sarah, hospital, yes. Number 6, spiraling road. Yeah, technically, yeah. Yes, I think Sarah.93 there has the best one so far. We will try Brona and Elaine, and then I'll go back through them and give you the right answers. Brona Murphy. 1, clearway, can't stop or park at time shown. Yes, that's how you answer number 1, absolutely. Number 2, no entry. Yes. 3, pedestrian entry. Pedestrian entry? Yeah, I suppose. Pedestrianised street it is anyway, yeah, but you're on the right track. Number 5, oh, you haven't answered number 4. Number 5, hospital ahead, yes. Not sure of 4 and 6. Yeah, not many people are sure of 4 and 6 actually. I know 4 is to do with the speed limit, but not sure what it means. Okay. And then Elaine here as well. Let's see how Elaine gets on. Number 1, clearway. Yes, that's correct, Elaine. Number 2, no entry, yes, to vehicles. Yes, absolutely. Number 3, pedestrianised street. Yeah, normally you'd have a little time of when it's a pedestrian street, like between certain times. Yeah. Number 4, 80 kilometers. Yeah, just be careful now. You mentioned it's a rural speed limit and that you have to be driving with due care for rural roads. Number 5, hospital ahead. Absolutely. And number 6, loop road ahead. Absolutely. Yes, loop. Number 6 is a loop road ahead. Okay. So that's great, folks. I mean, there's a lot of people there had either all of them right or nearly all of them right. Okay, so number 1 is a clearway, no stopping or parking during the times shown. Number 2, no entry. Okay, no entry to vehicles, as someone said there, can't enter there. Okay. Number 3, pedestrianised street during the times shown. Okay, there should be an information plate as well to accompany that between Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, depending on the times shown. Number 4, as we said, is the rural speed limit is 80, so drive with care and consideration based on the road conditions. Okay, so while 80 might be the limit, it's not. The sign is not inviting you to go to 80. It's just saying be sensible and be careful on the rural roads. Number 5 is a hospital. Yeah, hospital ahead. I've got some real interesting ones for that over the years. One person said it was a helicopter landing pad. Another one said something to do with hydrogen taps or something like that. Another person said hotels, I think, a hotel ahead. And I've got a few. They were the interesting ones anyway. But number 5 is a hospital, and number 6 is a loop road ahead. So a loop road is like a road that is this like really long and gradual circle. It can almost come 360 nearly, and it's where you're driving on a constant turn for a significant period of time. I think you'd find one of them on the Red Cow Roundabout just outside Dublin, for example. So that's a loop road there, okay? So that's those signs there, folks. Let's get down to some more comments here then, and we'll see if anybody else has any more attempts at those signs as we go down. Anya Newsom. Hang on. Oh, I get back up to Anya there. I lost her a sec. Anybody who knows, I have a habit of losing comments here. Let me see now. Here we go. Would you generally second gear for a roundabout? Yes, generally I would. Anya Newsom, what a great name actually. I would generally recommend second gear for a roundabout, but not 100% of the time though. Like it does depend on the roundabout, but usually second gear for a roundabout is great. Yeah, maybe you can do the bigger roundabouts in third gear. If it's big, multi lanes, and you're not really slowing down that much, and as long as it's safe to go, you could potentially do bigger ones in third. And of course, you'd have to go at the first then if you're slowing down or something like that, or if you're stopping, of course. Steep is giving his own bit of advice here, I think. Generally, yes, second gear will be enough control going around a roundabout, but for larger ones, you could use third gear, but make sure to keep the speed low and control. There's the voice of reason anyway from Steep or Step, however I'm saying that. Luke Tunney, how many points is a fail? 9 or more, Luke Meowflower. Generally speaking, if people fail the test, it's because they get 9 mistakes or more. 9 grade 2s, that is 9 grade 2s, as on the like that's the blue ones on the sheet there. But as I said earlier, you could get 6 or more under the one heading, like a bold heading there in the bold writing, or 4 under the one specific mark, and that could cause a fail too. Or if you get 1 grade 3, that's a fail. But if people are going to fail, most people would fail because they accumulate too many grade 2 marks. Okay. Hi Dane, just wondering, is it necessary to use the handbrake at all stop signs during the test? This is a question here from Sarah Murphy. Do you have to use the handbrake at all stop signs during the test? Sarah, I'm going to echo the words that Walter White said once in my favorite TV show, Breaking Bad. Absolutely not. Okay? Absolutely not. Okay, sorry, I just love Breaking Bad, folks. I know every word, every episode of it, and it's a great show. Check it out on Netflix. You do not have to use the handbrake at all stop signs, okay? Because that's just, that would be what I would call lazy analysis, okay? It depends on the stop sign. So if the stop sign is slightly downhill and it's fairly quiet, like you're not going to be stopped very long, well, then there's no need to use the handbrake at all there. It'll probably only delay you, okay? If it's slightly downhill and you're only stopped for a very short period of time. The main thing on a stop sign is that you stop. Okay, it's not about using the handbrake, not necessarily about using the handbrake. Now, if you're at a stop sign and it's an uphill and it's kind of busy, well, then I would absolutely recommend you use the handbrake then. Okay, so it depends on if it's a hill. If you're there a long time, I'd recommend using the handbrake. If it's a hill, absolutely. At traffic lights, I'd usually recommend using the handbrake. So just because it's a stop sign doesn't automatically mean you use the handbrake. The thing that automatically has to click in at a stop sign is that you stop, not necessarily use the handbrake. Now, you may need a handbrake, but it depends on the junction, okay? Next one then, Smart Gamer 81. Wow, Lamb, waiting for so long. Why am I waiting for so long? Well, Smart Gamer, depends what you're waiting for. I presume you're waiting for a test. You're waiting so long because we are in the middle of a pandemic, and they're probably getting through the backlog. But you could try contact the RSA, maybe give them an email. I don't think it's necessarily the best idea to be ringing them these days because there are a lot of people working from home, and I know they're probably struggling a little bit to return all calls or to answer all calls. But hopefully you'll get your test soon anyway, and best of luck to you when it does. Machine Guns Sid, hi there, hello to you, Machine Gun Sid. Uh, Voke Dorothy, hi then. Could you explain how we should react to cyclists in different situations? Yes, well, if you see a cyclist on the road, the first thing you have to do, folks, is don't zone in on the cyclist, okay? If you see a cyclist there, yes, be aware that the cyclist is there. Be aware of him, okay? He's there, okay? But you also have to be incredibly aware of what's ahead of you, because I know if you see a cyclist, the first thing you want to do is you want to overtake him, okay? You want to get out of his way and get going, okay? So be aware that the cyclist is there, but be extra aware, be more aware of the situation with oncoming vehicles or cars, okay? Be aware as well, is it an uphill or a downhill you're going towards, okay? So if you're going uphill and the cyclist is cycling uphill, the cyclist is probably going to be going slower because he's going uphill. But remember as well, you're probably going to be going a bit slower too. It could be harder for you to overtake because you're going uphill. So a lower gear would be the order of the day there. Also with a cyclist, be aware of what the weather is like, okay? Because if it's a windy day, the cyclist could be kind of weaving in and out like this. If the cyclist is cycling up a hill, he's probably going to be weaving in and out as well because tiredness kicks in. He's probably going to be finding it tough on the hill, and a lot of cyclists will weave left and right on the hill. So my advice there is, if you see a cyclist going up the hill, be careful and watch for the weaves of them, okay? If a cyclist is carrying a heavy load on the back, similarly, watch out because they could be weaving in and out as well. Be very aware of oncoming cars. That's the most important thing there. And if it's safe to overtake, do it. But make sure you have a good view ahead of you. And then make sure to check your mirrors moving out, check your mirrors moving back in. Make sure you can see the cyclist in the side mirror when you're coming back in, okay? So best of luck. I know it can be tricky, but you have to just bear those in mind. And don't panic, don't stress. You remember, the situation will be over with very, very soon. Laszlo Prince. What an interesting name. What's the fourth sign? The fourth sign is the rural speed limit sign, okay? So that means that the speed limit is 80 kilometers, but the sign is only saying that's the maximum speed limit. You have to use common sense and care and consideration and good judgment for what is a country road, okay? So it's saying in simple language, the speed limit is 80, but you're not expected to go 80 necessarily. Be aware for bends, twists and turns, potholes, tractors, things like that. KK, my dad's a driving instructor. I better pass. Well, hopefully so. Yeah, you've got a good start then. So best luck to you. Hi Dane. I'll have my 12th lesson finished at the start of December. I have my provisional. I think you mean learner permit. I think you have your learner permit 6 months by January 29th. So could I apply after the 12th and say I'm free after the 29th? Well, yeah, if your learner permit is 6 months old and you have your 12 lessons done, yeah, you can apply then. Is that what you're asking me? I have my 12th lesson finished. Pretty nice 6 months by January. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so as long as you have your 12 lessons done and your learner permit is 6 months old, you are free to apply for a driving test then. But don't just apply for it because you're able to. Make sure you're ready to apply for it. Talk to your instructor. But yeah, it looks like you can do it. Yes, and the best of luck to you. What have we got next then? Arif Mahmoud, how to deal with series of ramps for changing gear and using clutch with clutch, please. I think you mean gears with clutch there. So, if you have a series of ramps, a few people ask me about this lately. You might have, say, 5 or 6 or 7 ramps in a row, but there could be a gap between the ramps. And people ask, like, do I go up to third gear and then come back down, or do I stay the same speed the whole way around? You see, I don't know. It depends on the area. Like, it depends on how much space is between the ramps. Like, my instinct would say to me, go up to third gear and then come back down to second gear. But that only works if you have enough space between the ramps and you're able to build up enough speed. So, like, what? Let me see. I mean, what you see, you have one ramp and you get over one ramp, and then let's say there's, I don't know, maybe if there's 60, 70, 80 meters, I'd definitely be getting up to third gear because it's more efficient on the car. It's more energy efficient. So if you're getting anywhere near 27 to 30 kilometers, I'd be definitely getting up to third gear and then braking slightly down to second gear, slowly off the clutch. Make sure to lift the clutch slowly, but make sure you come off it fully though, because if you don't come off the clutch, you're coasting. And over the next ramp, then give it a bit of juice, get it up to 30, third gear. Next ramp, then brake gently down to second gear before the ramp, off the clutch slowly. You should be off the clutch before you hit the ramp, before the front wheels hit the ramp, I mean. and over you go then, and then the same again. So like if you can get up the gears, to third gear, great, do it. If it's a short distance between the ramps, only 30 meters, maybe might be better off staying in second gear the whole time. Then it just depends on how much space between the ramps. It's a tricky one. I don't know which particular area you mean. Um, Let me see. After that, then what have we got? Paint fire. Paint fire. My instructor asked me, "How do you check your brake lights if you're alone?" And I was stumped. I am getting mixed answers on Google, so if you have any idea, I'd appreciate it. Yes, well, if you're on your own and you want to check your brake lights, bring your car up to somewhere like where there's a glass behind you, some kind of glass window behind you. Reverse up close to the glass window. Press the brakes a few times, and as long as you see all three brake lights working against the glass window behind you, you shouldn't even need to get out of the car. You should be able to check that by looking in your rear view mirror or looking behind you. Okay, so that's how you would check your brake lights if you're on your own. Bring it somewhere where you've got some glass windows behind you and do it that way. Remember, folks, you should make sure all your brake lights are working before the test. All three brake lights should be working. Okay. Um, let's see what's next then. Um, we had paint fire there, so our next one then is Cat 7. That's what I meant. Thanks very much. Good stuff. Best wishes, Cat 7. Jordan Daniels. I've my test in 2 hours. 2 hours, Jesus. Thank you for all your videos being available for free. Well, my pleasure. My pleasure, Jordan. Knowledge is power, and that's what I'm trying to give all you folks out there. So, best of luck to you in your test, Jordan. You might be doing it in another, I don't know, hour or so, depending on when you made that comment. Let me know how you get on. But the best of luck. FG, hey Dane, just wondering if I'm driving around in a state, there's many cars parked on the left. Do I need to indicate? And if I do, then when do I indicate? Well, if it's a housing estate, like it wouldn't be a major priority to indicate overtaking parked cars in a housing estate, but I would still advise it if you're moving out over the center line, and if there's no center line, over where the center of the road is or would be if there was a center line. I would advise you just give it a quick indicator, not like as in give it a little like a my car. You can give it a little gentle tap up. It'll only go on 3 times and that's it. I would only do it for the first car. There should be no need to keep the indicator on too long because it could be misleading. So if you're going to indicate in a housing estate, I would advise you to indicate if you're moving out over the middle of the road, and just do it for the first parked car. Okay, the first parked car. And then from there on in, if you're just driving in a nice straight line, there's no need to indicate for all the cars on the left. The first indicator you've done is enough, because remember, you're indicating to signify your intention to move out. Once you're out, you're out. There's no need to keep indicating then, otherwise you're telling people that you're going to be taking a right up ahead. Remember, it's indicators. It's about planning the future. It's about telling people what you're going to do in the future, okay? So that's my advice there. Just a quick indicator for the first car. Now, subsequently, if you have to come in and then give way to oncoming cars, you will have to indicate right, not left now, but right, just to let people know that you're moving out. And but that's only because you move back in and you're moving back out. Okay, so but generally speaking, that will be the answer there. Candyman then. 3, no cars except bicycles being pushed. Okay. No cars. Oh, I think you're referring to the sign, is it on the screen? I presume that's the only thing that makes sense to me anyway. Number 3, yes, no cars. But yeah, bicycles being pushed, that's fine. I don't see any problem with that. So number 3, the sign's up there, folks. Number 3, pedestrian street. Okay, so no cars during the time shown, and that's what that one means. Yeah, Dennis Sherry, 6 is a loop road ahead. Absolutely, Dennis. A loop road ahead is number 6. A loop road is a road where you have this big, like a constant garage. Your car is going to be constantly turning on a loop road. You could get them at intersections like roundabouts or flyovers and that kind of stuff. So that's where that would be. As I said earlier, you'd find one, I think, on the Red Cow in Dublin. D, I got a grade 3 on observation turning right. That's unfortunate. What can I do to make sure that doesn't happen again? Well, short answer D is look more and move the head more, okay? So if you got a grade 3 on observation turning right, that means that you took a right turn, probably at a T junction, like a stop sign or something, and you didn't do enough looks. So maybe you pulled out, and you might not necessarily have pulled out in front of somebody, okay? Because if you got it under observation and not right of way, then that's probably where it came from. But it basically means that the tester was concerned that you didn't do enough head movement, okay? And that you might have looked, okay, but then suddenly you stopped looking and then you just drove, like you like after a gap. You have to keep the head moving to keep things fresh. So if you're taking a right turn, you have to understand that generally you're going to be crossing two lanes, okay? So it's like twice the work, twice as hard as turning left. So you have to keep the head moving while you're waiting, and even as you begin to go, as your front wheels cross over the stop line, you then have to give like one last look to the left, okay? Like think opposites, okay? If you're going right, one last look left. If you're going left, one last look right, okay? So observation turning right, it's a very important one there, because you could be on a busy road. It's to do with not moving the head enough and not getting the one last look. Candyman, how long should you hold the foot brake down before deciding to put the handbrake on? About 4 or 5 seconds there, meow flower. You don't want to be resting too long on the foot brake. You're better off having the handbrake up. It's more secure anyway. About 4 or 5 seconds, and then handbrake goes on, and then you can take your foot off the foot brake and bring it over to the accelerator. I don't mean press the accelerator, but have it kind of resting on, or kind of hovering over the accelerator, so you're ready then to move off when the light goes green. So that's my rough estimation, about 4 or 5 seconds. Although if you're on an uphill, if you're stopped on an uphill, don't even wait 4 or 5 seconds. Just handbrake straight up, foot off the brake, then over to be ready on the accelerator. Because if it's a hill, it's a hill. You don't need to wait 5 seconds then. Nancy Phoeben, hey Dane, thank you for all your videos. Could you please tell me what all things do we need to know? All things do we need to observe when driving an automatic car on the test date, please? Well, I'm going to make this very simple for you, Nancy Phoeben. Observation is the same in an automatic car or a manual car. There is absolutely no difference in observation. You don't observe less or more because you're driving an automatic or a manual. You still have to observe, okay? So if you're at a junction, say, a T junction, you have to keep the head moving left and right, and get the one last look as you're moving. So if you're going left, one last look right. If you're going right, one last look left. If you're coming to a roundabout, you're approaching a roundabout, manual or automatic, approaching the roundabout, don't wait until you get to the line to suddenly decide to start looking right. As you're coming up to the roundabout, as you're, let's say 30, 40 meters from the roundabout, okay, do this. See what I'm doing there? Preview the roundabout. Preview. Don't wait till you get to the line and then suddenly look right. That's not good planning ahead, okay? The idea of roundabouts is to keep traffic moving, keep traffic flowing. So if you can kind of get the looks in early and often, you might be able to go without stopping. One of the things that's going to annoy the testers more than anything else is stopping on a roundabout when you could have just went if you had looked more, okay? I mean, Nancy, I could be here all day talking about observation for you. I mean, they'd be the two main ones. Like let's take two more for it. Like the turnabout and the reverse, for example. It's exactly the same in a manual as it is in an automatic. I don't see any difference at all. I don't have any. If I'm teaching somebody an automatic manual, it's all the same. So on a turnabout, at the start, good, enthusiastic, look around everywhere, look all around you. On the reverse around the corner, try look behind you the majority of the time, over your left shoulder and your right shoulder, as well as the mirrors. Like you wouldn't just go from left shoulder to right shoulder. Go from left shoulder, okay? Like just when you're doing the reverse around the corner, okay? You look over your left shoulder, and then as you're turning your head, just kind of glance the mirrors as you're going. So left mirror, middle mirror, right mirror, and then get the right shoulder. Like kind of like build a bridge between the shoulders between either shoulders and get the mirrors in the middle. That would make more sense, and it'll increase your observation. Okay, so keep the head moving on the turnabout and the reverse. David Egan, Dane, is it not 8? Let me see now. Let me just say, folks, just get the comments. David Egan, here we go. Is it not 8 grade 2s or more to fail? No, if you get 8, it's a pass. 9 is a fail, okay? So 9 grade 2s or more is a fail. If you get 8 grade 2s, it's still a pass, okay? 8 grade 2s is fine, as long as you don't have any other issues like a red mark or anything like that. FG, just confirming that, yeah. Okay, Sita Karki. Had my test last month. Tester asked me in the beginning if it was my first time. When I said yes, I felt like he was already making his mind up to fail me. Hope they are not trying to weed people out. Well, don't be shy, Caesar. Let us know how you get on, or and was it your first time actually? So I know I'm asking like I'm behaving like a tester, but trust me, and I presume the tester is probably only being curious there, maybe making conversation. Um, was it my first time? I said yes. It felt like it was making my mind. Well, did he fail it though or not? Like I'm curious. Um, yeah, I know. Like, I can understand what you mean. Like, I mean, but I would just see that as them kind of making conversation with you, maybe trying to lighten the mood, trying to talk to you on something driving related, But yeah, I can understand how you might feel that way, but try to understand that testers are very professional people. They're very fair, and listen, if you're good enough to pass, you'll pass, whether it's your first time, second time, third time. But let me know down below if I'm still here. I'll be signing off soon now, but let me know how you got on. I'll be interested to see how you got on there. Sita Karki, okay? Keith Anderson then. Hi Dan. Well, actually it's Dane, as in the Great Dane, but you can just call me Dane. I'm a long time driver that always avoided doing my test for silly reasons. We come across those every now and then. I have my test next week, and wondering how many theory questions will I be asked before doing the actual driving test. Well, Keith, the best of luck to you in the test, first of all. Um, you're never too old to do it, and it's good that you're taking the bull by the horns there now. You can email me at DaneTyghe. The email is up on screen there. DaneTyghe@gmail.com if you have any questions. As for your question about theory questions, I mean, it varies. 4 or 5 theory questions, maybe the same amount of signs. There won't be a whole lot. Maybe 5, maybe 6. It'll be a reasonably brief. They won't ask you a lot of theory and science, and don't worry about it too much. Even if you get them all wrong, it does not mean you fail. Okay. A lot of people, particularly more hardier drivers, get a bit concerned about the theory and road science. Yes, it's important. It's nice to get off to a good start, but it's not the be all and end all. Okay, you can still easily pass your test even if you get your questions and signs wrong. Okay. But as long as you prepare well, you should be fine. And good luck to you, Keith. Oh yeah, you meant Dane. That's grand, yeah. Rose SS. Hi Dan. Yeah, just I guess kind of Dane, but could you please explain grade 3 mark 2 times on turning right? Hang on now. Grade 3 mark 2 times on turning right, but I wasn't in danger or anything. I'm just wondering. Are you saying you got a grade 3 mark twice on turning right? Well, you're going to have to be a bit more specific there now, Rose, my flower, because you could have got a grade 3 mark on observation turning right. And then, do you mention it as observation, or what is it? Turning right? No, you just say turning right. It's possible, but like, I mean, it could be observation turning right. It could be right of way turning right. It could be a few things. Okay, um, just let me know if you can be more specific. But I mean, if you got 2 grade 3s, then it's very, very serious. You either you either didn't look enough, or maybe you pulled out in front of somebody, But it depends on what the mark is on. Evan Andresev, yeah. I did my test last week and I failed. Oh, hang on. I'll get back to Evan there. Here we go. I failed because of tree position on the straight, but I don't even know what it means. I thought I was going to pass. Well, sorry about that, Evan. 3 position on the straight? What does that mean? Do you mean you got a grade 3 on position? A grade 3 on position on the straight, maybe? That's possible. As you can see on the test sheet on screen here, folks, there is a position on the straight there. This guy got a grade 2 mark, like, but you could potentially get a red mark on position on the straight. I'm sorry to hear that, but like, you know, as I say, there's no smoke without fire. You must have done something. If I'm understanding your comment correctly, I don't know if you said it right or if you're leaving a word out there. If you got a grade 3 on position on the straight, the tester must have felt that you were in a dangerous position on the straight. Maybe you went too close to the left or something like that. Maybe you went down the wrong road or wrong lane. I don't really know, but sorry to hear that though. But let me know, you know, in the comments further down. Let me know if you want to give me more detail on that, or you can email me on screen there as well. But yeah, sorry to hear that, Evan. Matt Blausello. Hi then, thanks for all your videos. You're very welcome. I'm due driving test in the next few days. What are the marks for the theory? Well, you can only lose one grade 2 mark for the theory. So basically, to keep it simple, if you get one question wrong, it's a grade 1 mark. If you get 2 questions wrong, it's still a grade 1 mark. But if you get 3 or more wrong, it's a grade 2. Okay, so you can't get any more than one grade 2 mark. Okay, so the most you can lose for the theory is one medium-sized mark, just like the person here on screen. Okay, just up there, grade 2 mark number 1. You see, even if you get all the questions wrong, that's the most you can lose. Okay, so try your best to study, try your best to get off to a good start, but don't sweat about it. Don't stress about it. It's not the end of the world if you get all the questions wrong. Okay, you can still pass the test comfortably, even with a bad start. Okay, so I'll be just signing off now soon, folks. I'm going to try and catch up on the comments here. FG, what a great yeah, can't remember what answer now, FG, but thanks for that. D there as well. Thanks, you're very welcome, D, and good luck to you. FG again, one last question. Shoot, fire away there, Holmes. If you are staying on a handbrake, can you let the handbrake down and move off without it? I'm more comfortable moving off without the handbrake. Okay, I'm going to have to read that again now. If you are staying on a handbrake, can you let the handbrake down and move off without it? Okay, I'm going to make an educated guess of what you mean here because I'm not quite understanding that question. It seems to me you're more comfortable moving off without the handbrake. Okay, it seems to me that you're not very comfortable moving off with the bite. Okay, so you can do what you suggest there, FG. I mean, I don't see any major problem with it, but if you're on an uphill though, how are you going to do that then? Are you going to let down the handbrake and then try and balance the feet really quick and risk rolling back? You need to practice getting the bite, okay? What you're saying there could be done. It's possible, but it's a little bit risky and it's kind of what I would call a bad habit. When I have someone for driving lessons, I always get them comfortable getting the bite so that they don't have to fall back on what you're saying there. So what you're saying could be done, but I'd be very careful about that on the hill, okay? You don't want to roll back. Kingsley Ike, sorry folks, can you fail on theory questions and technical checks? No, you cannot fail on theory and technical checks. If you look at that sheet there on the screen, you will see that there is no space under grade 3. Like grade 3 is blanked out there, okay? So you cannot fail for rules, technical checks, or hand signals, okay? The worst you can get is a grade 2 mark on those, okay? So do your best. Be as prepared as you can for the hand signals, the theory, the road signs, and the technical checks. But don't stress about it. It's not the end of the world if you get them wrong. Todd Milne, I'd advise everyone who has a test coming up to watch Dane's videos. Thank you very much, Todd. I appreciate that. I pretty much watched all of them and passed my test first time last Wednesday with only 4 grade 2. That sounds like a good result there, Todd. Thank you very much and congratulations to you. Rusi or Roos, Dane, some instructors advise stay center on the straight with a clear road, but some instructors advise left with no parked cars. What's your take, please? That entirely depends on the road, okay? So I would say there, Roos or Roos, I hope I'm saying your name right there. If it's a straight road and a clear road, I would generally say keep left of center. Just what I would in general, just slightly more left than central. Some would advise simply left. Some stay center on the road. Some, you see, I would stay. I would advise to stay center if you're in two lanes of traffic and both lanes are going like straight the one way. I would advise then to be in the middle of the lane because it's better to be in the middle of the lane there because you don't want to be straddling the line if you have other cars beside you in multi-lane traffic going the one way. But generally speaking, left of center. Of course, it might vary as well because a road is not going to be straight forever. You're going to have bends as well. So if it's a bit of a left bend, I would advise them to come out a little bit central, and if it's a bit of a right bend goes around to the right, I would just kind of stay left then because you'll have a better view by staying left on the right bend. So it entirely depends. It shouldn't be a big deal either way though. Or M Rusa on YouTube. Yeah, great. Okay. Sita Karki, first time and failed. Well, I'm for that's a pity, Sika. Sorry to hear that, but hopefully you can learn from the experience and be better for the experience next time. Okay then, folks. So let's see there now. What are we up to? 20 past 1, is it? Yeah, I'll probably be signing off in five. Pardon me, in 5 or 10 minutes. So I'll try and get down to these comments here now. Anybody else wants to guess at these signs up here? Now, just go for it in the comment section. I'll be going through the signs again anyway before I finish up this live stream. Ruby D, how do you avoid frequent stalling when you go up a hill that is slow moving and stopping? Well, that is a bit of an interesting question. How do you avoid frequent stalling? Well, simple answer: more practice. That's a simple answer. You have to practice more, become more comfortable with your car, do hill starts. When you're moving off, make sure you keep your clutch nice and steady. Another thing as well, what I find quite shocking, surprising, basically, is I would have a fair few people that would come to me because they've seen me on YouTube and they might want a few lessons off me, and I might not have seen them before. So I get a high enough priority, a high enough quantity of people who I haven't had from the start, and who come to me from somebody else. And when I ask them then about this, like what Ruby is talking about here, when I ask them why don't you use some clutch control on the hill, I won't say all of them, but a significant amount of them look at me as if I've got two heads and say, "What's clutch control?" And I'm saying, well, it's the moving the clutch. Let me get my hand over it. Moving the clutch in and out, little tiny little movements, along with the accelerator up the hill that gives you more control. And a lot of them don't even know what that is. So if you know what clutch control is, I would advise you to use that along with a little bit of accelerator, a little bit of juice. If you type in Ruby, I've made a video on this, okay, on creeping up the hill. My phone is here actually. I can't get it up on screen for you now, but I'll get it up on my phone here and show you I'll show you the thumbnail anyway. But basically what I'm saying there, if you're creeping up the hill, you have to have a nice, gentle bit of revs and use your clutch control. Don't have any hasty or quick movements of the clutch. If you do, the car is very liable to stall or conk out or something like that. I'm just looking at my phone here now. Here we go. Yeah. So I'm going to show this to you here now. It's the top one here. Now let me see. I don't know. Now, can you see that there? Is that light? I'm going to just take this light out of the way for a sec here now. Okay, if you type in Dane Tyghe creeping uphill or Dane Tyghe clutch control on a hill, you'll see the top one there, creeping up a hill, okay? Creeping up a steep hill, alright? Now I am upgrading my thumbnail, so I won't always have that thumbnail on it. But the title of it is the title of the video there is how to use clutch control on a hill, okay? How to use clutch control on a hill. So if you type in Dane Tyghe, how to use clutch control on a hill, you will have the answer to that question there, Ruby D, okay? So best of luck with that. I hope it works out for you. Evan Andreev, no, three grade two marks on position on the straight. Yeah, that's an interesting one now. Yeah, so it's obviously you were in the wrong position on the straight, Evan. Um, did he give you any other feedback? Maybe. Oh, here's another comment from Evan. And my driving instructor never mentioned once I had not a good position on the road. Now, we need to get we in this situation, Evan. You need to cut the driving instructor a bit of slack, okay? Because I've had this before with people as well. I could have done a certain amount of things with people, and the person could have went in and failed the test, and they could have failed on something that I never noticed or I never spotted before. But that could be because the person made a mistake, or the person went on a route that I hadn't gone on before, or whatever. So just because your instructor never said it to you doesn't mean that you were all clear on it. I mean, it can go a bit deeper than that. But position on the straight, if it's a grade three grade two marks, you won't fail for three grade two marks on position on the straight. It would be four, but it would have added up to an old overall mark probably. But obviously there's some issue there. Maybe the tester felt you were too close, or maybe you misread some road markings. It's hard to know because I don't really know the ins and outs of your driving and the route you were on. But anyway, this is the best look next time. At least you know about it now anyway. Okay. So I'm gonna be what time are we at for? 5 minutes, folks. 5 minutes before I'm signing off here now. I'm going to watch Dublin and Cork then in the hurling. Let's see. Hi Dan, I've been driving test in 6 weeks. Would you recommend I practice while driving with my family? Well, as the old saying goes, is the Pope a Catholic? And the answer is yes. Let me just reread that. I've been driving test in 6 weeks. What would you recommend I practice while driving? Oh, sorry, I thought you said, would you recommend I practice? What would I recommend you practice? Everything. Everything. From the turnabout to the reverse to the hill starts to driving in all different areas of town, like traffic lights, mini roundabouts, changing lanes, everything. There's no shortcuts. I mean, you're going to be tested on a wide variety of things, so do everything. I would advise you to get lessons. I mean, I know my videos will probably help you, but they shouldn't be the be all and end all. You should also be getting lessons with a qualified registered driving instructor as well, who can point you in the right direction and go through the test route with you. I'd recommend at least 3 lessons anyway. But yeah, just everything, And you can email me there, Ben, if you have any questions. DaneTyghe@gmail.com. James Rowland, let's get back up to James there. Should we indicate each time overtaking in a really busy estate? My pre-test instructor said it would be too confusing to keep indicating. Yes, he said that because it's correct. You only need to indicate if you're moving out significantly. So do you mean like overtaking parked cars? You mean, is it? So if there should be no need to indicate overtaking parked cars if you're not, crossing the middle of the road. If you are crossing the middle of the road, just give a quick indicator to for the first car, but don't keep indicating. No, it's going to be too confusing. You don't want to leave the indicator on the whole time. Because if it's on the whole time, you're going to give the wrong signal. It's going to confuse everybody. People are going to think you're turning right when you're indicating to move out. Okay, so just a quick indicator to overtake is fine if you're moving out, but don't leave it on too long. No. Dane, I had to pop out for a few minutes and missed your response to the question in relation to testing the brake lights. If you're in, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, what is the correct procedure? So if you want to test your brake lights, there, then it's bring your car to somewhere where you have a glass window or a large glass door, okay, and reverse up close to the glass window or glass door, and then you should be able to see in your rear view mirror then, or even by looking behind you, if the three brake lights are working, okay. So that's how you would check. That's how you would test your brake lights there. Reverse your car up against some kind of a glass, some area where there's a large glass window or large glass door, and that should do the trick there. You shouldn't. You might not. You wouldn't even need. You wouldn't even need to get out of the car. You could do it from inside the car. Okay. Stephen Kelleher. Should you worry about the grade ones if they are fairly irrelevant? Um, no, you shouldn't worry about the grade ones, Stephen. No, they're not that relevant. But bear in mind, like if you look up at this test sheet here, Stephen, you'll notice there that the person got near the top there hand signals. Okay, you see rules and checks, and just two down there hand signals. Okay, So this person here got 2 grade 1s on hand signals. Now that's fine. The 2 grade 1s are fine. But if he had got one more wrong on hand signals, the tester has no more space to give him a grade 1. Like, because to the best of my knowledge, you can't get 3 grade 1s. You can only get a maximum of 2 grade 1s. So because the tester has no room to give him another grade 1, he has to go into the grade 2 categories for hand signals. So yes, the grade 1s are minor enough, generally speaking, but if you get too many grade 1s, they are going to evolve into grade 2s, and that means it's going to add up to your, to the marks that you could fail on. Okay, so hope that answers that. Okay, folks, a few more comments, folks. Just going to be finishing up here now in a few minutes. Dennis Colin Flynn, he said to find a window or something with a reflection. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Thanks, Colin. Yeah. Dean Clark, could you do a night driving lesson? Show us how to turn on and off headlights when facing oncoming cars. I've already done that, Dean. Already done that, and I'm going to find that for you there now. It's under commentary drive, okay? At the moment, my commentary drives have an orange thumbnail, okay? An orange thumbnail with black writing, and I'm going to show you the thumbnail now, just so you can see. And I have done a commentary drive on that where I use my headlights and then I turn them off and all that. Here it is here. So it's called How to Drive Safely. Let me just see. Can you see that there? How to Drive Safely in the Dark. Okay. How to Drive Safely in the Dark Commentary Drive. Commentary Drive 3 Night. Okay. So if you type in that into YouTube, how to drive Dane Tyghe, how to drive safely in the dark, commentary drive, you will be able to see there my video on driving in the dark. Okay, so I hope that helps you out, and my email is there if you want as well. Okay, so I'm just going to be finishing up here now very soon, folks. Last couple of comments. That's Dean there said that. Yeah, Ben Hart, you're very welcome, Ben. Thank you for tuning in, Ben. Shocks00 passed the driving test there today. Your videos up, brilliant news. Videos helped a lot. Cheers, man. You're very welcome, Shocks00, and congratulations on passing. That is a great achievement. And you have your full European license now, so well done to you. Dennis Shari, thank you. You're very welcome, Dennis. Any questions, let me know. Dennis, congratulations. Yeah, Colin, congrats. Yeah. What's the maximum amount of road signs theory question you can get asked for the practice? There is no maximum amount there, JB888. Generally speaking, they probably won't go over 5 or 6 signs. If they go over 7, I'd be very, very surprised, okay? But usually they keep it to 4, 5, 6. Excuse me. I'm not aware of any maximum, okay? So last comment here then, folks, I think. I'm going to be signing off. I could do more specific. This is Rose, S Rose, SS. I can do more specific, but too long to be writing. I was meant to ask what are the conditions to get grade 3 on the test. You might be better off emailing me there, Rose. Yeah, danetyghe@gmail.com. But you're asking about grade 3s there. You see, grade 3 is serious or potentially serious. So, like, for example, this person here on this test sheet, like grade 3 changing lanes. See her observation changing lanes. So it didn't do enough merge checks, changing lanes, probably changed lanes without taking enough looks. A grade 3 on the reverse could be reversing, and maybe you got very, very close to another car, got too close to them, got too close to pedestrian. Grade 3 on observation, not doing enough looks, turning right or left, like barely doing one look when you should have done lots of looks. Grade 3 on signs, maybe you didn't stop at a stop sign. Grade 3 on traffic lights, didn't stop at a red light. Grade 3 at pedestrian crossings, didn't stop for a pedestrian or got too close to a pedestrian. Grade 3 on clearance, got too close to parked cars. Email me danetyghe@gmail.com if you want a more detailed answer there. You're very welcome, Rose and JB88. Thanks. For JB888. Test on Tuesday in Portlaoise. Second time doing it in Portlaoise. Have the marking sheet if you ever need them. Thank you very much, JB. Appreciate that. And the best luck to you in Portlaoise. Let me know how you get on. I hope to be back next Saturday as well at the same time. So maybe you might tune in and let me know how you get on there. So, folks, nearly going to wrap up here. For anyone that hasn't heard me, I'm going to briefly go through these signs up on top, okay? Just in case you're at the end of the stream and you haven't seen me explain them first. So, sign number 1 is a clear way. Clear way. No parking or stopping. Sign number 2, no entry. No entry for vehicles. Number 3, pedestrianised street. Normally, you'll have a little plate underneath that to say whether it's pedestrianised between certain times, okay? But number 3 is a pedestrianised street. Number 4 is the rural speed limit sign. This is saying that the speed limit is 80, but take due care and consideration for other issues on the road like humpback bridges or bends or something like that. It was basically saying the speed limit is 80, but use your common sense and good judgment. Don't feel you have to go to 80. 5 is a hospital sign. Number 6 is a loop road. A loop road where you're like on a big gradual circle the whole time, or for not the whole time, but for a long period of time, you're going around in a kind of a loop. So you have to you have to keep your wheel turned like the whole time there, okay, on that. So that's a loop road there. So I would like to thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the comments. If you want to make a voluntary donation, you can do so by PayPal. Link will be in the description. And as I said, thank you for tuning in, and I hope to be back next Saturday at the same time, maybe an hour later or an hour sooner, but around the same time. I'll post on that anyway. And anybody that has a test coming up, the very best luck. My email is there if you want to email me for advice, or if you have a test report sheet you want me to go through. And thank you for watching, and stay safe, folks. Stay safe.